All right, the plan today is a simple one. I'm going to do 2 drafts here, and I'm not going to make a single pick. I'm going to auto pick 2 drafts. This is based on my theory that on drafters right now, even if you don't have time to make the picks to do the drafts yourself, you can find some EV drafting on drafters right now for 2 reasons. We're looking at some overlay. The contest, the main event, is about 64% full. It's been open all summer. There's less than a week left to enter the contest, only about 64% full. So I think we're gonna have some overlay, at the very least, some reduced rake in the contest. But on top of that, they've got some awesome promos going on right now. The primary ones are you can get your first deposit matched up to $100 if you use promo code PlayerQ or the link in the description of this video. So you put $100 in, you're going to have $200 to play. You can enter 10 drafts. It's a $20 to enter, shots at $500,000 to first. So that's the first reason. Those are the 2 reasons. It's the overlay and then the promos that allow you to take advantage. I think they actually have another promo going on right now that they announced something about. If you enter 5 drafts, you maybe get something back as well. I don't know, but those are the 2 primary ones. Oh, but then there's another promo. If you are a repeat customer, you can also use promo code RELOAD20 to get up to 20% back, up to 20% back, up to $200. So a lot of reasons to play on drafters right now. And I think, like I said, even if you are not able to make the picks yourself, you can find some EV in these drafts. So I am going to get into a draft right now. Looks like I have the 10 spot in this draft. And like I said, I'm not going to make a single pick in this draft. I'm just going to let it auto pick every single thing. I'll talk about, what maybe I would have done differently if I had been picking. So you can see here I'm in the 10 hole. Let me see if I can move this screen down a little bit so you can see the whole screen. They're just going to make it slightly, do I want to make it smaller? You can see where I am. It's the ones that have the green boxes. No, I'm going to do a different overlay. Hang on. Let's just do this one. Maybe that's better. Let's do this one. If you want to use my rankings, I've put them in the description of this video. So if you want to try exactly what I'm talking about, just let in an auto pick for you off of good rankings. I've done rankings. I don't know if they're perfect. I've spent some time on it. I've done a few of these drafts already and kind of adjusted as I've gone to see, put the players where I want them, make sure I'm not getting, the injured players, that kind of stuff. So they might not be perfect, but I think they're pretty good rankings. I've been pretty happy with how my teams have turned out using them so far. But you can find the link in the description of this video to a Google Sheets of my rankings. So you can go there, download them, download it as a CLV file, and then you can upload it onto drafters. You'll also want to set your positional limits to 3683 is how I've set it. Maybe I should show you how to do that after I say hello to everybody. What's up, Steve? RGT, show is now. What's up, JT? Vic, how's it going? New dad life. Love that. Love that. Garden City, Colorado. JT done drafting for the year. Okay, if you enter 6 drafts, then you'll get another ticket to the contest. So they're throwing promos at us. I think we need to take advantage of these promos. I need to make this screen smaller so you can see what I'm doing. Sorry, that's both those picks auto-picked for me based on my rankings. I got Malik Neighbors and Drake London. Did not realize that I did not have it. I had it on full screen, so you couldn't see what was happening in the draft. Neither I wasn't looking at it. Yes, thank you. Please do subscribe if you have not already subscribed to the channel. I am trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. I've got another 300 some to go to get there. Of course, when I get there, I'm going to set a higher goal, but I've been chasing 5,000 for quite a while. So if you would subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. If you like the video, that helps out quite a bit. And if you want to get notifications when I go live, you can hit that little notification bell as well. Oh, wow. You can do it 5 times. So you enter 6 drafts and you get a ticket, and you can do that up to 5 times. I mean, they have a million promos going on right now. Because they obviously don't want it to overlay a ton. I think it's inevitably going to overlay or at least have reduced rake to some extent. But with all the promos, I think it's just a good time to get in there whether you have the time to make the picks yourself or not. No, I'm not saying, like, I'm not advocating to just auto draft. I think you're going to make better teams most likely if you make the picks yourself. If you go in and like you look at what's on my team, what does it need right now, you're better off making the picks. But I'm saying if you don't have time to do that 50 times or however many times you want to draft, I still think it's worth it to just set some good rankings and let it auto pick like I'm doing right now. We'll see. So far, I've been pretty happy with my teams. Now, of course, I'm letting you all know that I'm auto picking, so you could just snipe me, screw up my team if you wanted to during the course of this draft. People want to know my thoughts on the Micah Parsons trade. I absolutely hate it. I'm a Vikings fan. Obviously, I hate it. Like, the Packers get way better with Micah Parsons. One of the best defensive players in the NFL goes to the rival team. I've also been drafting a billion shares of the Vikings offense in best ball all summer. This is bad. This is bad for the NFC North. They're going to have to face Micah Parsons now twice. The Packers defense just gets demonstrably better. It's helpful for all my Cowboy shares. I do have a lot of CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Dak Prescott. I think they're all really strong picks in best ball. They look a little bit better without Micah Parsons on the defense. They could become a little bit closer to the Bengals. That's part of the reason we like the Bengals this year. Is I think the defense is going to be atrocious, so they're going to need to just be throwing it all game. So the Bengals passing offenses look great. Now I think the Cowboys passing offense maybe gets a step closer to that. It's also just a step closer though to being a complete dumpster fire and everything backfiring and you know, CeeDee Lamb maybe wanting to sit out at the end of the season. I don't know. So it's a precarious situation, but I think generally I like the Cowboys offense a little bit better as a result of the defense losing Micah Parsons. All right, so what is this pick going to be? We've got Drake London, Malik Neighbors. Looks like we're going to get Omarion Hampton. I like that. Throwing a running back onto the team. Now you see I have both Terry McLaurin and Jayden Daniels ahead of ADP. And I have Terry McLaurin first because I think if I only get one of them, I would rather have Terry McLaurin than naked Jayden Daniels. I also would not be that upset about getting naked Jayden Daniels. So I have them there. I've actually gotten it at the 3-4 turn. I set it up so that when I'm at the 3-4 turn, I'm pretty likely to get Terry McLaurin and then Jayden Daniels. More likely because I have them ahead of where they're going in ADP. I already got that in one of the 3 auto pick drafts that I've done today. So I was happy that worked out. We'll see if it works out here. All right, the turn does it. Also, Jayden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, so I'm not getting them. Now, if I get George Kittle, Trevion Henderson on this team, I think they both fit the team nicely. So yeah, I'm cool with getting a Kittle share here. And I'm not making picks, just letting it take the top selection based on my rankings. The one downside here for doing this is I don't think there's an option to tell it that I want to auto pick on drafters. I think that and every time I leave the draft room and I come back, it's going to turn off auto pick mode. It's still going to auto pick for me. It's going to use the full 30 seconds for the first one, but I'm going to do it just for a second now because I want to show you what you can do if you're interested in using my rankings and setting things up. So you can go to, first of all, my rankings there's a link in the description of the video to this. So this is my rankings. It's in Google Sheets. You just go to File, Download, Comma Separated Value, download that, this as a CSV file, and then you can upload it to Drafters. And where you do that is, this is the main screen, Rankings tab up here. You go to Rankings, import the file that you just saved to your computer, and it's as simple as that. You have to name it, tell it that you want to use those rankings, but I think that they are good to use if you're just going to let it auto pick everything, save it and everything. But then the other thing you need to do is, so that's the rankings. Also click this limits tab, Because if you're auto picking, you want it to have positional limits, and this is what I did: 3, 6, 8, 3. So that's exactly 20. So you're gonna get exactly this build on all of them. But I think it is probably the best build in 20 rounds. So I just set it to every draft I do, I'm gonna get 3 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 8 wide receivers, and 3 tight ends. So and then you have to click submit. Make sure you save it. So just wanted to show you, if you want to do this, take advantage of the overlay. Play on drafters, get some action here, but not spend the time making the picks yourself. That is how you do it. Again, I think you're better off if you just make the picks yourself. But I think it's viable. I'm going to make this smaller. No, this smaller, so we can see more of the board. Oh, that's a good question from Fantasy Guru Drew. Quick question: do you think you'd have better teams if you had good rankings? Yeah, send me your rankings, Drew. Let's see what you got. Hot shot. JT says, I guess I'm in the minority that thinks the Cowboys won that trade. 2 number 1s and a 3-time Pro Bowler defensive tackle, and they cleared a lot of cap space. I don't know. Micah Parsons is just so unique. Like, it's so hard to get players of his caliber that it's just like in fantasy. I think it's a little bit different than fantasy, I guess. In fantasy, it's like you almost always want if it's like a 1-for-2 trade, you want the one side. You just want the better players. Easier to replace players who are not elite. And I think Micah Parsons is just elite enough that it's tough to see that. But at least like long term, it could be good for the Cowboys, I guess. It puts the Packers in a bind. Yep. Chat Pro S. This is the same rule as Marathon Underdog. That one is going to overlay 2. I don't know if that one, it's a little bit different because that one is on Underdog, where people are they're already getting their action. So I'm not as convinced that one is going to overlay, but it is looking like it will. Yeah. I'm just playing here in part because of all the promos also. But yeah, that one, I would keep an eye on that one as well. All right, so Zay Flowers is going to be the pick here for me. So I'm at Malik Neighbors, Drake London, Omarion Hampton, George Kittle. We had Zay Flowers there. Now you can see I've got Rashee Rice well ahead of ADP. I just think he's a really strong pick now that we know he's going to miss the first 6 games, but then be available the rest of the season. Now, obviously, that's more valuable on sites with pods where it's like you want your teams to peak later. And so it's better on Underdog, DraftKings, etc. But he's still an elite player who's going to catch a lot of balls for the final 10 weeks of the season. So I think he's a pretty strong pick anyway. Let me make this. Oops. And now he will be back for most of the bye weeks. All right, so I'm going to get Rashee Rice here. Once it makes the pick for me. There we go. So we're up to Malik Neighbors, Drake London, Omarion Hampton, George Kittle, Zay Flowers, and Rashee Rice. Yes, also a good point by Steve. Says it's also an issue happening right before the season. The Cowboys can't upgrade their pass rush. If that trade happened before the draft, they would have taken a pass rusher or too early. Yeah, it's a good point. All right, let me try a different view. Is that better? I think that's a little bit better. You get a bigger screen this way. Yeah, that's good. I like this one. Might even be able to make it a little bit bigger. Let's see. Nope. Cool. All right, we're at Neighbors, London, Omarion Hampton, George Kittle, Zay Flowers, and Rashee Rice so far. Now we are at risk of getting Rashee Rice and Jordan Addison on the same team. I think it's okay with this one because we already have 3 receivers that will be, solid receivers in the early going. So it wouldn't be the end of the world to get those 2 together, but it's not ideal. Might be something I'd avoid. The real fun comes later in the draft when I see what I have and there's like clear needs on the team. Right now, really, we need any position. Okay, Addison goes. All right, we get a Jordan Mason onto the team. I think that makes a lot of sense for this team. If we had gotten Patrick Mahomes with the Rashee Rice, that would not have been a bad pick. Juwan Jennings potentially missing the start of the year along with Rashee Rice is not ideal, but also would be stacked with George Kittle there. Jennings goes. Do you have any rules for bye weeks or stacks, or is structure the only bounds? Yeah, structure is the only bounds. I don't think there's any way to set that kind of a rule. I don't love the way that it changes this every time I make a pick. All right, so I got Pittman. So we are at 2-5-1. Omarion Hampton, Jordan Mason, Malik Neighbors, Drake London, Zay Flowers, Rashee Rice, Michael Pittman, and George Kittle. Yeah, I mean, if I were able to set rules for bye weeks and stuff, like that would be ideal. I would definitely do that, but I don't think that's a capability on any of the platforms as far as I know. So it's a risk that you're taking by auto drafting, but because I've set it to I get 3, 6, 8, 3, it's pretty unlikely to be a huge issue in many. It's possible you could run into it depending on your rankings, but I'm not super concerned about it. I did. I set, so my my settings are 3, 6, 8, 3. It's the exact structure I'm going to get on every draft. What's up, WFN Warehouse? I did change my rankings a bit, knowing that it would be auto draft. So yeah, the rankings that I've, again, they're in the description of this video. I also posted in the Flannelverse YouTube in the Best Ball channel, which is free to join, by the way, the Flannelverse YouTube, if you're interested in that. So my rankings, I prioritized quarterbacks that are also runners. Rushing quarterbacks, I think, are a little bit better when you are auto drafting. So that's one thing that I did that's a little bit different. And you can see in this one, Bo Nix and Justin Fields both already gone. So yeah, this one's not working out as well as all the others I've done, because I've had a quarterback by now for all of my other drafts. So this will be interesting. But then I did quarterback groupings. So like at the end, I have in sequence, I think I have like Sam Darnold, Aaron Rodgers, one pick behind Sam Darnold. The thinking is by then I will probably have multiple quarterbacks. I'll probably have 2 quarterbacks by then. So then I'll just I'll get Sam Darnold before Aaron Rodgers, but then I have Aaron Rodgers ahead of ADP because at that point I want a starting quarterback. Like if I don't have 3 by then, I want to make sure I get Aaron Rodgers, Joe Flacco. So I pulled up some of those quarterback in my rankings. And you can see here, so now I am the using the default is not working as well in this one as it has in all my others. I don't know if this is because it's I'm streaming and everybody knows I'm auto picking or what, but everybody's big quarterback run on all of the rushing quarterbacks here. So it is what it is. Maybe it won't work out for all my drafts, but so far I've had Jayden Daniels stacked with Terry McLaurin. I also, and that's part of what I did. So like Jayden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, pulling them up because I'm auto drafting. I just pulled them up way ahead of ADP so that I'm likely to get them at the that turn there. All right, so we're gonna get Travis Etienne on this one, and then also because I'm more likely to get Drake May with my rankings, I also I pulled up Kyle Williams, who I like anyway, but I've got him like 20 picks ahead of ADP. I've got, I think I have Pop Douglas right at ADP. I think I pulled up Hunter Henry a little bit ahead of ADP, just, to try to, and then Mason Taylor I've got ahead of ADP, pulled Josh Reynolds ahead of ADP because I am going to get a lot of Justin Fields with these rankings. Yeah, what else did I do? I mean, I just made sure that my guys are pretty far ahead of their ADP is part of what I did also. So we'll see some of those later on. Was really hoping he was going to take Baker Mayfield. Now I get Baker Mayfield well past ADP, so not the end of the world. Would have been a nice fit to get Brock Purdy on this team with George Kittle, but not for this one. I'm trying to think what else I did. I was thinking about the fact that I'm going to be auto picking when I made the rankings. Oh yeah, and I also did that also. Lower some injury suspension guys a bit lower to make up for the fact that you can't balance the team to support those concerns. So I did like I said, I actually have Rashee Rice ahead of ADP, Jordan Addison, I think ahead of ADP also. But then I do have Quinshot Judkins I pulled way below ADP. I just don't really want to get Quinshot Judkins, Najee Harris on these teams. Sorry, not Najee Harris. I actually like Najee Harris now better. But Quinshot Judkins and Joe Mixon I moved well below ADP. So yeah, I did some of that. Nice. David says he's closing in on his 50th draft won't max, but happy with that. Yeah, it's a good number. JTC. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to win in best ball. We're all dogs to make money year over year. You hope to make it over your lifetime, but yeah, it's a tough game. Even with Edge, you're just competing with a lot of different players. But yeah, hopefully you get into some finals. And like I said, if I were drafting myself, I do want to stack. I do think stacks are still valuable in this format, but not quite to the same extent as Underdog, because you don't have you don't need the weekly spikes. So in Underdog, you doubly benefit from the correlation of some season-long correlation with your quarterback, your pass catchers, your running backs, just betting on the team doing awesome. But then it's also in the pods, you're betting on single week, strong correlation, obviously, between quarterback and pass catchers. Quarterback throws it to the pass catcher, they both get touchdowns together. Whereas here, you don't need that quite as much, since there is no benefit to spiking in a single week. You want to spike for the full season, so there is correlation from that perspective, but it's a little bit less important here, which is part of the reason I think it's viable to auto pick and just have the best projected team. Godwin goes. I mean, he's not a great fit on a Rice team, but also like they're just such smashes that it would have been fine getting Godwin on this team. All right, we're going to get Luther Burden after Rashad Bateman went. So now we're at 1-3-6-1. So we're not coming up on any of the constraints yet. Just get the best player available still. Javonte Williams, I've got 10 picks past ADP, but I guess he'd be fine on this team. All right, Javonte goes. I'm getting Josh Palmer. So we're at 1-3-7-1. We're going to be done with wide receivers pretty soon. Would prefer to be a little bit more balanced and have more wide receivers later, but it is full PPR, not really the end of the world. What's going on, Tony? Ooh, finished in your last BBM drafts. That's fun. I'm down to 14 fast drafts left to do. I should check where I'm at in some of my drafts. My slow drafts, that is. Oh man, signing a lot of. I have not drafted any Isaiah Bond yet. Could work out now that he's signed. And they dropped Deontay Johnson. I am going to make a few slow draft picks on another screen because they're not going to be. Otherwise, I would pull them up here, but this draft is not going to be done before these picks need to be made now that we're down to the 1 hour clocks. It is, in fact, slow draft hell. We talk about it all summer, and I don't fear it as much as I should, I think, because I wake up on the clock and like, oh God, I have 15 minutes left in this draft. And so many. All right, we get Trey Benson. Then looks like we're probably going to close out wide receiver here momentarily. All right. And we get Jalen Coker. All right, sweet. With apologies to the Bryce Young drafter. They're going to get Xavier Legette probably. But Jalen Coker, a pretty huge target for me right now. You can see I had him well ahead of ADP. So this team continues to have 0 stacks, but we're done now at wide receiver. The rest of our picks are going to be quarterbacks, running backs, and tight ends. We need 2 more quarterbacks, 2 more running backs, and 2 more tight ends on the team. And for those who were not here at the beginning, I'll repeat, I'm not making any of these picks. These are all auto picks. I've got auto pick mode enabled intentionally. I'm letting it pick all of them for me because I'm testing my theory that you can make great teams without making any picks yourself. Any structures you've been leaning into here at the end? Well, on drafters, I'm doing just 3-6-8-3 for these auto drafted ones. And I think that's typically what I like to do in 20 rounds anyway. That's what I've done for the most part on drafters and drafters and DraftKings so far. Oh yeah, as far as like even going big time 0 RB, I haven't been doing it as much as I thought I would. That was kind of the plan, was that I would do a lot of 0 RB. I've been doing a lot more, I'd say, hero RB type structures, just because there are so many mid to late round wide receivers that I like. So I like to save a spot to get a Jalen Coker or Elik Imanor or Isaac Tesla, or there's just a bunch of late round wide receivers that I like, which it's not usually the case. So for that reason, I am not as much doing the 0 RB, but I'm doing some. A lot more hero RB or bully, take 2 anchor RBs and then later. Drafted a ton of Braylon Allen early drafts. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, this year 0 RB could have worked well. Appreciate you, Saul, for reposting the stream. Tony was a big Xavier Legette guy. He did not. You were sharing with us that you loved Xavier Legette. You did not tell us that you loved Jalen Coker, but apparently drafting Jalen Coker the whole time. Yeah, I mean, and to be honest, I'm in on Xavier Legette now too. I've been drafting a fair amount. I do like Coker better still, but I've seen some very sharp people are really in on Legette with you. So I've been, thinking I don't like him because I don't think he was that good last year. But then, I talked to Jordan Vanek on Twitter, was saying that he thinks that he's always been a project. He always assumed that he was going to be a little bit of a project pick. And he thinks that he's due for a year 2 breakout. All right, looks like we're set to do Tyjae Spears. Tyjae Spears at 178. Hopefully only misses 4 games. Ooh, I got to move Roman Wilson down in my rankings. I'm not a huge Roman Wilson guy. I guess it doesn't matter on this team because I'm not getting a wide receiver here. All right, let's see what the teams look like. All right, wait, what's the pick going to be? It's going to be Mason Taylor. So we're at 1 quarterback, 5 running backs, 8 receivers, 2 tight ends so far. Do we need to adjust our quarterback rankings maybe? I mean, I don't think I need to adjust them much based on my other drafts, but this one, it's not going to be a great quarterback room. Just looking at what the other teams did to get here. I mean, this team going Fields, Kyler. They weren't even that, honestly, not that early. But this is, I mean, a round ahead of ADP for Fields. Another thing I did is I moved Burrow pretty late in my rankings. Like I have him ranked at like 69 or 70, just because I don't want to take Naked Burrow early. He's like one of the few elite quarterbacks. I'm like, yeah, I just really don't want that unless I have the stack. Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody else is doing anything that weird. So maybe I do need to adjust my rankings a little bit more. This is the first one where just things have not lined up well. It's a tough balance because you don't want to like take 3 early quarterbacks. I guess it's not the end of the world if you get 1 elite and then 2 in the early pocket. Tony thinks Liget is sneaky good. I take Rashee Rice early 5th round. JT is a big, or you're a Roman Wilson guy? Interesting. All right, so the team so far: Baker Mayfield, Omarion Hampton, Jordan Mason, Travis Etienne, Trey Benson, Tyjae Spears, Malik Neighbors, Drake London, Zay Flowers, Rashee Rice, Michael Pittman, Luther Burden, Josh Palmer, Jalen Coker, George Kittle, and Mason Taylor. So we'll get one more tight end here. All right, see, this is a spot where I would obviously take Cade Otton if I were picking myself for the stack. But Jonnu at 202, nice value. That's our final tight end pick. All right, we get a stack. We get Daniel Jones with Michael Pittman. So that's good. We've at least got one stack on the team. It is looking like I'll need to adjust quarterbacks slightly. I think I know where I'm going to do it, and I'll show you where I'm doing it as I do it. So I'm going to make adjustments to the rankings, and then we're going to do it one more time, an auto pick draft. Paired Wilson with Rodgers in all of my early Superflex teams. Nice. What's up, M-Wald? How's it going, C-Money? This one, not my favorite of my drafts. I think it works. It's fine. It'll be structurally okay. 3-6-8-3. Like, I think that it is a team that could make some money. So I'm generally satisfied with it. But of the 4 auto drafted teams that I've done so far, this one is probably my least favorite. But nice value on Omarion Hampton at pick 34. Trey Benson at 154. Tyjae Spears 178. Reached on Jalen Coker, but I actually think it's a really nice value at 159. little bit of a value on Kittle at pick 39. Actually, I don't know if that's different from where he goes. Jonnu Smith at 202. So I'd say overall pretty satisfied with the team. QB3 is going to be gross, but I can live with that. We got 2 starters. I think the DK is going to come close to filling, I think. I would guess that this one overlays more just because Underdog has a lot more people on site. So I think as soon as other contests fill, they're just going to really push that one. Easier for them to get people excited about promos, that kind of stuff. So I would guess that this one overlays a little bit more. But we'll see. People are pushing this one now hard too. Yeah, I like that it's 500K to first here. All right, so we need one more running back, one more quarterback. So it'll be Kyle Monangai, I think. Kyle Monangai. And then the final quarterback. I don't even know who it's going to be. This is going to be fun to find out. It's going to be gross. It's going to be somebody who's not very high in my rankings. Looking if there's any stacks I'm rooting for. Maybe it'll be Russell Wilson with Malik Neighbors, potentially. Final pick is Russell Wilson. All right, so we end up with 2 stacks here. Baker Mayfield, QB1, is unstacked on the team. Daniel Jones stacked up with Michael Pittman. Russell Wilson stacked up with Malik Neighbors. Omarion Hampton, Jordan Mason, Travis Etienne, Trey Benson, Tyjae Spears, and Kyle Monangai is the running back room. No bye issues on those positions. Malik Neighbors, Drake London, Zay Flowers, Rashee Rice, Michael Pittman, Luther Burden, Josh Palmer, and Jalen Coker are the wide receivers. George Kittle, Mason Taylor, Jonnu Smith are the tight ends. So we actually got 3 starting quarterbacks. I'm not super excited about the quarterbacks, obviously. I'm going to have to adjust that a little bit, but I think it's a viable team. I think this team could do well. I don't have super high hopes for this one. It's not like if I were drafting it myself, but I think with some overlay, I could see this one cashing. Could do some damage. JT says, after I win an Underdog tournament this year, I'll let you have me on as a guest for a small fee. All right. Oh, I'm not giving you the man's coin. Come on now. Thank you, sir. BB Meat Gazer. Good luck to you as well. Yeah, I've been drafting some Flacco also. All right. That might be true, Mr. Grapefruit. It is going to be a tough division. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I am going to make a couple slow draft picks. I'm going to adjust my rankings, and then I'm going to get into one more draft here. So here's my slow draft on Drafters, pick 213. I want to make sure I'm using these latest rankings. Doesn't always work for some reason. I think it might be just this draft. It's not been working to update it, but let me see what's available here. Maybe need a Tight end looks weak. I'm a Hig believer, so I'll go with Tyler Higbee. All right, and then I'm going to make a few underdog picks. See, I was just doing these, and these 1 hour clocks are just killing me. So I'll make these picks, and then I'll probably just use the Jalen Lane with. I'll do Jaden Lane because I've got Jaden Daniels on the team. Rashard Smith, why not? Yeah, this team needs a running back. I was saving a spot here, I think, for Jalen Coker, but he moved up too much. I think I actually like Adam Thielen. I think people aren't wanting to draft him right now, and I think the general consensus is that it's actually a slight downgrade for him in Minnesota. I'm not totally convinced, though. Go Mason Taylor on this one. Darnold is stacked up. Let's do it. Closing out the draft here. Doesn't really look like a team that needs Miles Sanders. I'm going to go with Jarquez Hunter. Yeah, I'm not as high on QJ as they are, but he's probably a great value now. So I do it sometimes. I don't take him every time they want me to. The sidekick wants me to. Here I've got, is this a Tua team? Yeah, it's a Tua team. So I'm going to take Malik Washington. And like I said, the rankings that I'm about to update after I'm done with my slows here, you can find the link in the description of this video or in the Flannelverse Discord. Is this a team that needs Miles Sanders? Maybe. I guess I'll do it. Don't do what I did, kids. Don't get into 300 slow drafts at a time in August. Do I do Jalen Lane with Jaden Daniels again? Yeah, I do. Could be a nothing, could be a 0, but it's 18th round. I want to do these quickly. Already starred Matthew Stafford in this one. Sure enough. Stacked up. All right. So I have Xavier Legette ranked ahead of Coker here because I figure I'm going to be manually picking it for the most part. Yeah, I'm going to let the turn decide what they want. Take Brenton Strange with my quarterback. Go ahead and Mitchell here. All right. Now, that last draft ran into some issues with the quarterbacks. I'm not going to make any huge changes here. but I'm going to try to avoid that. So what can I do to avoid it? I could just move this trio up a little bit higher. I don't really know that I want to, though. I mean, it ended up fine. I think it was mostly just bad luck the way things went. Everybody taking quarterbacks ahead of ADP, but I also don't want to run into that issue again. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move Brock Purdy. Wait. I'm going to move Brock Purdy ahead of Baker Mayfield because I think he's objectively a better pick. And then I'm just a little bit more likely to get a quarterback there because I have Purdy now ahead of ADP slightly. Not by much. And then I think I'm going to got Goff, McCarthy. I'm just going to move up these 4 quarterbacks. Love, Lawrence, Herbert, and Stroud to prioritize finishing out my quarterbacks a little bit earlier. Not a big Bateman guy. It's tough because I don't know that I want to close it out entirely. So I'm debating if I should actually just be moving up my later round quarterbacks more. I'll think about that. All right, let's move up. Yeah, I think I actually want to do that. I'm going to undo those. So instead of moving all those guys up, I think I'm just going to do like as a last resort. If you don't have a quarterback, buy Cam Ward. Let's see who's available there. No, if I don't have a quarterback, buy Sam Darnold, Matthew Stafford. Then I want to prioritize quarterbacks because I think it's a really flat tier there. So what I'm going to do is move up Daniel Jones. I'm going to do it ahead of Quinshon Judkins. So this is break glass in case of emergency. There's probably a better way to do what I'm doing right now. So apologies if you're a spreadsheets guy watching me just bungle my way through this. There is like on Excel, I know how to just cut and paste, but for some reason it's more difficult in this. And where was the last one? Dart, sure. Anybody else I want here? No, I'm just going to leave it like that. So now I think I'm less likely to run into that issue of just potentially getting really gross quarterbacks. I mean, it's still like kind of gross if you're relying on those guys, but so I'm going to save this. I did it. I think it automatically saves, right? Okay, I'm just going to download it, file, download CSV. I'm going to go back and upload these into my rankings. We're going to do another draft here momentarily. To go to rankings, import. Save. Make those the default. Still got positional limit set to 3683. We're good to go. All right. Still, obviously not an ideal exercise with people joining the draft, but it is what it is. We're testing stuff here. I also can't believe Jerry traded Parsons. I mean, I can because it's Jerry, but all right, we're going to say draft. I'm ready. Anybody else drafting with me here? I see you can't even read the names here. I think this is RGT. But hopefully some of you used promo code PlayerQ and got in to draft with me. So we're going to get one of Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, and CeeDee Lamb here. Yes, sir. McCarthy and Thielen. I think they're going to be good. You're not wrong, Peppertoni. I cannot wait for the season. I think mine actually will finish up before the 60-second timers. I'm closing them pretty quickly right now. Like it's been, I was up 200. I was in 200 drafts like 2 days ago. I'm down below 100 now, so I'm getting to the 18th round in all of my eliminators. But yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to be out of slow draft hell. That's one. Of course, is this a team that needs Miles Sanders' rough pep talk? Yeah. You think I need Phil Maffa on this team? I'm not buying that one, JT. Dart is, I mean, that might be true. Dart could be good. All right, we got a Bijan Robinson team. Glad to hear it, Airborne. Glad you found the content helpful. Appreciate you. Shmo thinks that it's going to fill. I mean, it's so far from filling right now. And I don't think that because it's your own unique platform that people are not on other than these, I think it's going to have a tough time filling. It only moved up like 3% over the past day. JT says, I don't think you had to adjust your rankings. Just seems they were set up better for the first half draft position. Yeah, but I mean, if people are going to use these rankings, I want them to be set up well for every position. And I didn't make any huge adjustments there. I just the way I adjusted it is if I get to the end and don't have a quarterback, I'm going to prioritize getting some, decent quarterbacks on the team to make sure that I have three and they're not like the backups that aren't going to score anything, is the idea there. RGT, I've never looked closely at your avatar before, and I'm a little bit afraid to. I'm not going to lie. It looks like there's some elderly love going on there. Is that your kink? Is that why you're in my streams? I'm only 42, by the way. I want to be clear about that. Lemon Party. I'm not familiar. I need your True Serum Xavier Worthy take. Okay, my truest truth serum Xavier Worthy take is that we're probably drafting him slightly early. And I say that as somebody who is drafting him in the early, mid 4th round. I'd feel so much better taking him in the 5th round. I think 5th round, I would feel great taking Xavier Worthy. Where we take him, I am a little bit nervous about it. All right, so what are we going to get here? We've got Bijan Robinson. We're going to get one of Ladd McConkey, or we're going to get JT. It's a nice fit. We're going fully running back. Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor with the first 2 picks. And again, for anybody who's late, I'm not making the picks. I'm letting it auto pick. We'll see what happens. Is this going to be a full-on bully RB start? We're going high T with this one. We got Chase, we got Higgins, Garrett Wilson. Okay. All right, we go Josh Jacobs. So we have Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs. We do have the 2 week 5 buys at running back. But I usually have been running into the issue of not getting many good running backs with my rankings. So this will be unique. That's funny. Archie says, Chris Spags and I debated about whether it could be used as an avatar on a draft site. I proved Spags wrong, and now it's part of my brand. I mean, Adam Scherer's username on Drafters is Bime4's Bitch Tits. So I don't think they have difficult standards to meet. You should be doing a Rubik's Cube. Yeah, it should. I've actually never done a Rubik's Cube. I know that it's like super easy to learn how to do. Like you just like watch a tutorial, you can learn how to do a Rubik's Cube. I just have never had the interest in doing it. I think because I know it's a solved game. So it's just like I know I could do it. I just have to like watch a video. Easy to do. And that doesn't really interest me. But it is also like, to me, it seems really complicated. I look at it, I'm like, that seems impossible. Maybe I should just learn how to do it so that I learn how to, you know, use a different part of my brain. Maybe I'll learn something by doing a Rubik's Cube. But yeah, I've never had a ton of interest in it because I know it's solved. JT got 2 sides. I mean, just watch a YouTube video. You'll get it. Sure of it. This team is looking like it could end up extremely high T. All right, we go Jalen Hurts. Nice getting an elite quarterback in there. Don't have to worry as much about the stacking with a Jalen Hurts. I had one of my 3 auto pick teams before the stream was Jalen Hurts, and I ended up getting Dallas Goedert on the team also. That was fun. Egbuka. I've got Egbuka here. Now we're looking good. Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Jalen Hurts, Egbuka. Do you remember the Rubik's Pyramid? I do not. So yeah, two parts. One part of Pepperoni asks, are you monitoring to make sure that you can mass enter and have teams that work? So yes, I'm going to enter a bunch of drafts, and I intend to do this where I just do a bunch at a time and I don't watch them. But also, just I wanted to give people my rankings and tell people, you can enter, put $100 on the site using promo code PlayerQ. You'll get $100 free. So now you have $200. You can enter 10 drafts. You don't even need to spend your time drafting. It'll do it for you. And if you use good rankings, you're going to end up with good teams. So it's a combination of, yes, it is what I'm going to do a lot of this weekend. I'm probably going to enter 30 drafts or so, and I'm not going to do them myself. But then part of it is also just, I want to make sure that if I'm telling people you can do this, I want to make sure they actually look good. And so far, I'm happy with, really happy with 3 of my 4 teams. Actually, the other one that I streamed right before this, not super happy with it. And I can show you the other teams I've got. I've been adjusting slightly, but PlayerQ does not work on reloads. If you already, and if you haven't used it, you can use Reload 20, and that will get you 20% off up to a $200 bonus. So if you enter, I think that would mean if you enter 1,000, if you put $1,000 in, you'll get $200 in bonus money. But yeah, PlayerQ sadly does not work on reloads. Reload 20, I think, is like, it's not even my own code. Like I don't get anything for using Reload 20. It's just like standard. Everybody can use it. Which is still probably worth it, like the 20% bonus plus overlay. But it depends on whether we get actual overlay, whether it's reduced rake, etc. So I think yesterday when I posted my Twitter thread, it was like just under 64% full last night. And then today, when I was setting up the stream, it was just under 63 to just under 64. So not moving especially quickly based on the little bit that I've been paying attention. Emwald says Davis has a reload code if you want to support a creator. I actually don't think that he gets anything for it either. Like Spike Week has their own reload code, but I don't believe they actually get anything for it. I don't know why they like got their own, but I could be wrong about that with Davis. It's what I from what I understand, nobody's reload codes actually help them. Maybe it helps them in the sense of like drafters seeing that they use their code, they'd be maybe more likely to do a partnership in the future or something. So there might be like side benefits to having your own code. So yeah, if you know Davis's reload code, you should use that one instead, or let me know what it is, because I'm always for supporting the creators. This will be interesting. Am I gonna have a 4th running back in my first 6 rounds? I am not. I'm gonna get Deebo Samuel. So we're at Jalen Hurts, Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Emeka Egbuka, and Deebo Samuel. All right, let's see. We get Jerry Jeudy. We got Jerry Jeudy. So we're at Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Jalen Hurts, Emeka Egbuka, Deebo Samuel, Jerry Jeudy. This is correct, C-Money. Davis reload 20. Oh, I'm going to be sneezing again, I think. I feel it's coming. He does have a lot of codes, C-Money. It is, you're saying it is Davis reload 20? Yeah, so that would be, if you are reloading and you've got you want to get 20% off, you can use Davis reload 20. If you're new, first time depositor, use player Q. One, 3, 3. Pretty satisfied with this team so far. The nice thing about having Jalen Hurts is, like, I don't really care if he doesn't end up stacked up. His biggest games are going to be brotherly shove games. Cobra knows all of the reload codes. This could be a Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt team. I have not taken a ton of him in recent drafts. I didn't want to move him like well behind his ADP in the rankings because I assume some people want to get a fair amount of Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. I started with just using the ADP for my rankings and then move players around where I think it's necessary. Yep. So we're getting Khalil Shakir. Full PPR, Khalil Shakir at 94 feels pretty good. Do not get the added benefit of, I mean, you do get week 17 with the Eagles and Bills. Just don't care about it that much on drafters because there's no pods. It doesn't matter when you spike. Looks like I'll be getting a second quarterback pretty early here. It's going to be Bo Nix. Jalen Hurts, Bo Nix are the quarterbacks. 2, 3, 4 build so far. Appreciate the reminder, C-Money. Yeah, please do like the video if you have not already done so. It's really helpful for me. Of course, if you're not already subscribed, would love it if you subscribe to the channel. Going to be doing a ton of content here starting next week. Going to be making some announcements on the content plans for the NFL season. I'll be streaming every day somewhere, I think. Most days on this channel. Oh, was he really? Bill was one of the players that is going to win it all, but that was before he shot up to the early rounds, wasn't it? Maybe somebody in chat can ask this. Stack and Relax asks, random question: which head-to-head contest has the least rank? I don't play any head-to-head contests, so honestly, I don't know. But maybe somebody in chat knows where you can find good head-to-head contests. Yeah, I'll be doing Outside the Box with Scott Barrett on the Fantasy Points channel. I also cannot wait for that. Year 3 for us. So now I've got 2 rushing quarterbacks in Hurts and Nix. I'm liking this team. So far, this one I'm liking a lot better than the last one. We'll see how the wide receivers look at the end, because I'm going to be getting some later round wide receivers for this one. But we're pretty balanced so far. No tight ends, but we'll get 3 at some point. I kind of like the late round tight ends anyway. Again, if you want to try this with these rankings, you can find them in the description of this video or in the Flannelverse Discord. They're just a Google sheet. You can download them from there, and you can adjust after you download them. You can adjust them very easily if there are things that you don't like. If you like some players better than I do or worse than I do. Little run on people reaching on tight ends here. Nick Chubb at 113. I like him better on a half PPR site. I'm kind of glad that Caleb went there, because I don't want to end up with 3 early quarterbacks. Wouldn't be the end of the world. Like, it wouldn't have been upsetting to get Caleb on this team at pick 118, but since I've already got 2 quarterbacks, don't feel I needed him on this team. All right, so we're going to get Cam Scatterbu as our 4th running back. And then we'll see. We're probably going to get, we're going to get a wide receiver here. All right, we get Darnell Mooney on the team. We're up to 2, 4, 5. Jalen Hurts, Bo Nix, Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Cam Scatterbu, Mika Egbuka, Deebo Samuel, Jerry Jeudy, Khalil Shakir, and Darnell Mooney. Yeah, this is going pretty well. I'm liking this draft. Again, no correlation so far, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. I mean, not in this draft. I'm not gonna intervene in this draft, but this is just an exercise. I'm not doing this like to make the best draft. Like if I were trying to draft the best possible team, then I would be making the picks myself. I wouldn't be doing auto picking. But this is just I just want to like show what the teams will look like if you use my rankings for anybody who's thinking about signing up and just like doing 10 auto drafts. If they want to see what the teams will look like, want to show them what these teams will look like. And I intentionally didn't stray from ADP that much in a ton of spots because I want the teams to look different. So if you stray too far from ADP, then you're going to get 10 teams that would look the exact same in this exercise. I intentionally I moved a fair amount of players around. There are, maybe 10 or 12 that I moved significantly away from ADP. Players like Quinshad Judkins, who I just don't think I want on my teams. And Joe Mixon, those types I moved significantly. And then some players I moved up, just like Jalen Coker, I just think is a much better pick than ADP. I think if you get him on all 10 teams, that's fine. I don't think that I moved him up enough that you will get him on all 10 teams anyway, but I tended to stay like within the band of ADP for most players. A little bit of a fall for Jordan Love here. Dallas Goedert goes. That was my last chance at a Jalen Hurts stack. It is what it is. Not sure if he would have fallen in the right spot for me anyway. I'll take one of these fallers. Am I going to get a quarterback or a tight end here? Interesting. Pitts goes. All right, we're slurping the Dipperino on Dalton Kincaid. Come on down. First tight end. Yep. Makes nice addition to the team there. I mean, bring back doesn't really matter on drafters because like week 17 isn't like any added benefit over other weeks, but it's, it is correlated for one of the weeks. Also a team stack with Khalil Shakir. All right, we get Pop Douglas. I would have preferred Michael Penix there because I have Darnell Mooney, but I'll take a pop share. And we are up to, what does the team look like? It's 2, 4, 6, 1. So pretty balanced so far. We're only coming up on the positional limits at quarterback. Yeah, I mean, if you're in second place in week 17, I take that correlation. I set my limits to 3683, which might also be the default. I'm not sure if I had set that previously. But yeah, I set mine to 3683. I see Cobra joined Flannelverse Discord. Good to see you, Cobra. All right, what are we going to get here? We're at 2461. So we get one of the Panthers wide receivers. We'll see what the Bryce Young drafter wants. He goes Shipley, so I get a Coker share. Love to see it. He might be mad at me once I take Leggett here too. It's a game we're playing though. We're playing the auto pick game. Two, 4, 7, 1. So if we do take Leggett, then we're done at wide receiver. And we do. We get Leggett. So we are done at wide receiver. We're at 2, 4, 8, 1. Jalen Hurts, Bo Nix, Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Cam Scatterbu, Emeka Egbuka, Deebo Samuel, Jerry Jeudy, Khalil Shakir, Darnell Mooney, Pop Douglas, Jalen Coker, Xavier Leggett, and Dalton Kincaid. I'm really liking this team. And this one, like the third quarterback probably will be Gross, but I've got two really strong quarterbacks at the top. So that's fine with me. Chris Rodriguez, if you're tracking the other Washington running backs, goes at 175. I've been drafting a fair amount of C-Rod. Is anybody else in chat in this draft with me? Anybody watching in chat and willing to out themselves as watching? You are legally required to tell me. It's actually in the Constitution. This is honestly kind of more fun for me than making the picks myself. It takes all the pressure off, but I still got kind of like the exhilaration of like, are they gonna take away the picks that I don't want, and then I'll get the pick that I do want, or am I gonna get a pick that I don't want? The bummer right now is I've already hit the cap at wide receiver. Troy Franklin would look really nice on this Bo Nix team, and I'm not going to get Troy Franklin, so I am going to have two unstacked quarterbacks. because I don't think there's anybody else outside of wide receivers on Denver that would be a stack for this team that would ever come up for me. So I'm gonna have those two unstacked. Actually, I have Bo Nix. Actually, no, I have him right at ADP. I did move up Troy Franklin and Pat Bryant to make it more likely I would get them on some teams, because I'll get a fair amount of Bo Nix, I think. Maybe not, because like I said, I actually did not move him. I thought about moving him at ADP and then moving Franklin and Pat Bryant up more to make it more likely I get stacks. I actually did that with Bryce Young. I have him ahead of ADP a little bit to make it more likely, because I'm going to have a lot of Coker and Leggett with my rankings. But apparently Pop Douglas fell enough that I still got some value scooping there instead of Bryce Young. So I can't even see what I'm going to get here, because I'm not going to get Kyle Williams or Troy Franklin. It's going to be a surprise to me. We're getting Sam Darnold as our third quarterback. It's a solid third quarterback. Pick 190. No stacks. No stacks on this one. Looks like we'll get potentially Jonnu as our third tight end. We'll get one of these tight ends. So we're at this point, we're all tight ends and running backs. We're maxed out at quarterback and wide receiver. Kind of nice that we got those three elites to start at running back, and then a long time between getting in our fifth and sixth. All right, let's see. I got Jonnu. All right, so we're at 3, 4, 8, 2. Yeah, exactly. It's the FBI disclosure. You got to tell me if you're in the draft with me. Yes, please do like the stream, everyone. Thank you for the reminder, Billy. Gerardo asking, why am I auto drafting? So again, the exercise I'm doing here is I want to see if my rankings are good enough that you'll get solid teams without intervening at all, because I'm trying to show people that it's worth it to take advantage of the overlay and the promos going on at Drafters, even if there's not overlay. Like, so if you use promo code PlayerQ, you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. So if you put $100 in, this is only for first time depositors. So if you have not played on Drafters before, you put $100 in, you will get that match. So then you have $200 to play with. And I think on this site, because there are no pods, it's points for the full season. You're competing against the entire field. Stacking, getting things perfect is not quite as important as it is for underdog DraftKings. So my contention is you will get positive EV even if you don't have time to do all those 10 drafts yourself, or more than 10 if you want to get in more, because of the promos and because of the overlay that I'm expecting, or at least reduced rake. So I'm showing what your teams will look like if you don't if you use my rankings, which again I've posted. It's in the description of this video. It's also in the Flannelverse Discord. So if you want to use my rankings, this is what your teams might look like. And so far I've been mostly happy with the way my teams have looked with auto picking. So it's just an exercise to see, and for me also to see, like, okay, this didn't go quite how I wanted. Now I need to adjust these a little bit, because you're not going to see it in doing just one. So this is the fifth one that I've auto picked. I didn't like my fourth one as much, so I made a few changes there. So it's kind of just showing you the process of doing my rankings and what your teams would look like if you use my stuff. But like I said, so promo code PlayerQ if you want to get your first deposit matched up to $100 if you haven't played on here before. If you have not yet played, you can use Davis Reload 20 if you want to give Davis a little bit of money. If you've already signed up and you want to get 20% back on your deposit, you can use Davis Reload 20, I believe. It is not easy, and also easy because I've done so many drafts that it's kind of fun to do something a little bit different. the rosters have looked decent from the auto in your rankings. What does the overlay do? The overlay, you mean like the contest overlay? So I'm not sure if you are, do you know what overlay is? I guess is my first. So there's overlay would mean, for anybody who doesn't know the term, so I'll answer even if you do know what it is. Overlay means, actually, I'll see what my pick is first. All right, so we're doing a full-on Carolina stack without the quarterback. We get Ja'Tavion Sanders as our third tight end. So overlay in this sense, in case there's confusion, like people use overlay tools that just show you like what picks you've made, or like what would be a good pick based on correlations, that kind of stuff. There, that type of overlay. The overlay that I'm talking about here is, so this is a guaranteed prize pool contest. So Drafters has guaranteed, I actually don't know how much in prizes, but some $2.5 million. I don't know what the total prizes in the contest are, but those prizes are guaranteed to pay out. They're going to pay out $500,000 to first, $200,000 to second. Doesn't matter if the contest fills. So if you enter the contest and it doesn't fill, then that's added value to you. So you're not competing with the however many entries were designed for the contest. You're competing with fewer entries for the same amount of money. So that's called overlay. And they take their rake, which is I think 15%. I actually don't know exactly what the rake is here. Should have checked that. But if the amount of entries that are left over is greater than the rake they're taking in terms of the money value, that's called overlay. And any amount that so basically if you put $1 in, you're getting $1.05 in value, or $1.25 in value, depending on how much overlay there is. You can you're getting more money back based on every entry. Whereas typical contest, because of the rake, you put $1 in, if there's 10% rake, your entry is already worth just 90 cents, not accounting for any like skill difference. Like the average entry would be worth 90 cents. Here, if there is overlay, then suddenly your entry is worth more than the, so if this is a $20 entry, it's worth more than $20 if there is overlay. If there's reduced rake, that just means they get less, if there's like 10% rake and the overlay does not fully offset the rake that they take, then that's just called reduced rake. So maybe your dollar entry is worth 95 cents instead of being worth 90 as a result of reduced rake, because the contest didn't fill. So those are the kind of things that we're looking for here. Highest stands and biggest fades as of this final week. Highest stands, Jalen Coker. I've been taking just so much Jalen Coker this past week. If you've been watching my streams, you know that I've been pretty high on him since the rumors started coming that Adam Thielen was going to get traded. I never really wavered there. Continue to take Jalen Coker a ton, because I just assumed that once there was a little bit of steam there, it was hard to, for them to hold on to Thielen. I thought pretty likely he'd be traded. So that worked out pretty well. So he's a pretty big stand for me. I've been continuing to take a ton of Bashal Tutin. I think I'm hopeful that they're going to trade one of their vets at some point. JJ McCarthy. Honestly, Drake May is another one. He's everybody's big stand, but like I rank him ahead of ADP. I try to get Drake May a fair amount. Jordan Mason, JJ McCarthy. Who else? Who are my other? RJ Harvey. And then biggest fades. Tyler Warren. I know some people are going to be mad at me for saying it, but I don't know. I think he just goes too early. It's not a bet against the talent. It's a bet against the situation. Just on a team with too many mouths to feed. Rookie tight end position that's hard to, you don't succeed in it a ton early on. Usually, like not a ton of rookie tight ends put up a ton of fantasy points. Quarterback play pretty suspect there. Just not expected to be a very good offense. So being probably fourth option in a bad offense is just not worth the 80th pick or wherever he's going on on DraftKings and Drafters. So I'd say Tyler Warren, one of my bigger fades. Also like Marvin Harrison, pretty big fade for me. Chuba Hubbard. All right, we're going to get a running back here. So whoever's highest in my running back ranks. Yeah, okay. Glad that was helpful for you. And we get Roschon Johnson. I moved him so far down in the rankings below ADP, but getting Roschon Johnson at pick 238 seems fine. Like, I'm not excited about Roschon Johnson, but that's about the right spot to get him. We also we did get no, never mind. We don't care about week 17 correlation. I was going to say we got Seattle with Carolina, but then again, I'm like, wait, this is Drafters. We don't really care about that week 17 correlation. So not any really great like quarterback to pass catcher correlation here, but we do have a fair amount of team bets here. So at quarterback, we've got Jalen Hurts, Bo Nix, and Sam Darnold. No team bets among those three. They're all standalone. But we do have Bijan Robinson with Darnell Mooney, team bet on Atlanta there. We've got Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, standalone, Cam Scatterbu, Jarquez Hunter, and Roschon Johnson. So no team bets there, just Bijan with Darnell Mooney. We've got Emeka Egbuka, Deebo Samuel, Jerry Jeudy, Khalil Shakir, Darnell Mooney, Pop Douglas. We do have a pretty big team bet on Carolina with Jalen Coker, Xavier Legette, and Jatavian Sanders. Wait, do we have two Buffalo? Yeah, we do have Khalil Shakir with Dalton Kincaid, and then we've got Jonnu Smith also. I'm pretty happy with this team. Like, I think this is a team that got a ton of pretty strong value here. Jalen Hurts a little bit past ADP, Bo Nix past ADP, Sam Darnold past ADP, so slurping some value there. A little bit of ADP value, I mean, Bijan, whatever. It is what it is. Jonathan Taylor, slight fall. Josh Jacobs, slight fall. Reached a little bit for Cam Scatterbu. I have him higher in my ranks, I think, than ADP. Jarquez Hunter, slight reach, but I like it. Slurped some Dipperino on Roschon Johnson. Got Egbuka right at ADP. Deebo Samuel, basically ADP. Jerry Jeudy, basically ADP. Khalil Shakir. So wide receiver, not as much. But then and then of course we reached for current ADPs of Jalen Coker and Xavier Legette. I'm not sure those will be reaches by the time this thing closes. Got a little value on Dalton Kincaid, Jonnu Smith, and Jatavian Sanders. A lot of players I like on this team. I actually worked out well structurally where I got the 3 elite running backs, and then we wait for a while until Cam Scatterbu, and then 2 right in the final rounds. I think it's working out. I think this strategy of letting an auto pick is working out pretty well. Yeah, competing against less teams is the other way of looking at it with overlay. Yep, Emerald says your goal in playing DFS is always being profitable after accounting for the rake that they're taking. So chasing overlay is something that we're always trying to do. Fellow cokehead, Puka Jefferson start makes me jealous. Big. I mean, your biggest stands honestly should bleed over into redraft leagues for the most part. I'm loving Jerome Ford still. I'm still drafting a ton. I think he's got some opportunity there. You're taking Coker, Fannin, Ollie, JCM, all on your redraft team. Hopefully you got some nice values there. How can you auto to only go 2 quarterbacks with an elite? Can you? I mean, you can't tell it like only take 2 quarterbacks when you have this quarterback. You can't do it to that extent. What you could do is change your rankings. So like if you go into my rankings and just say, I want to move all of these elite quarterbacks up, just like make sure you get one of the elites. You could do, at picks 24, or I would do like rank them Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, 25, 26, like whatever your preference is of those two, and then just put Jaden Daniels at 27. So then you're basically guaranteed to get one of those elite quarterbacks. If you want to do something like that, you could, set your rankings so that you're basically guaranteed to get an elite quarterback, and then go into, I'm going back to the main page here, go to your rankings, click limits, and change it to 2 quarterbacks instead of 3, and then you would need to change something else here higher so that you get at least 20, obviously. But that would be what you do if you want to, just like if you want to do 20, sorry, if you want to do 10 fast drafts and have it auto pick based on your rankings without, and you want to get an elite quarterback, then you could do that, set that to 2 and change your numbers here a little bit. But I'm obviously a fan of the 3-6-8-3 structure. What number main event is this for you? I think it's like low 20s. So I'm going to get in. I'm not going to max this out. I'm fairly sure at this point, because I don't want to do 150 auto drafted teams. I don't think. I guess we'll see how the overlay goes, but I don't anticipate that I'll max it out. But yeah, I'll do at least like 30 more. Maybe 40. Is it just 10.72% rake? All right, glad you found that. Yeah, I mean it's already pretty low rake, pretty good deal. Neil, I know your DFS is your big thing, but how many redraft / managed leagues are you in? So I'm in like 6 managed leagues, I think. 6 or 7. Got my draft tonight with my law school friends. Already did a draft with some friends from here. Already did my family league draft with like cousins and stuff. It's actually not managed. It's a sleeper best ball league that I did with some guys from DFS Army. I'm doing a draft on Sunday with just a guy I know from online invited me, and I said sure. And then I think I've got at least one more. But I can't think of when it is. I don't know. So yeah, I'm in like 7 or so. When you are you talking about for DFS or best ball, Rabona? Rabona asks, can you explain how you max out the DK Millie? What's your method for it? What do you mean by that? Do you mean for the, I guess it's like the answer is for DFS. So for DFS, yeah, I'm not like hand building it. I use, so historically I've used Fantasy Cruncher. I used to use, these days I'll be using Run the Sims. I'll be promoting Run the Sims this year. I'll be using Run the Sims. And it's just easy to make 150 lineups that way. So yeah, for week 1 this year, I'll be using Run the Sims. Also easy to use the solver I've used in the past. I like it quite a bit for, I've never used it for Showdown. It's a little bit confusing to me for Showdown. I haven't figured out how to use it, like the settings I like for Showdown. I'm sure it's possible, but I've used the Roto Grinders optimizer for Showdown stuff. And yeah, you just set a bunch of rules. So all I've always done historically is I use an optimizer. I set rules like if I, make sure I stack my quarterback, that kind of stuff. I always have at least one pass catcher with a quarterback. If we're talking main slates, it'd be like for a non-running quarterback, stack up with at least 2 pass catchers. For rushing quarterback, stack up with at least 1 generally. Sometimes include bringbacks, but not always. And then I run it, see what and usually I set an exposure cap on quarterbacks. So like, I don't want to have 150 lineups that all have the same stacks. That's just not my risk tolerance. I want to spread it out if I'm doing 150. So for one thing, I'll set it to be like at least 3 different players on each lineup, 3 uniques from each other. And then I usually set like a 20% exposure cap on quarterbacks to make sure that I'm getting at least 5 quarterbacks. And then because I'm also setting it to stack, your teams will look pretty different typically. And then I will run a set of lineups, see what they look like. I'll usually have a little bit of randomness on, not a ton. But then after I see what they look like, I'll look at my exposures and I'll go position by position, looking at the exposures. What do I want to be different than what it is now? And I'll adjust the projections up or down. That's how I do it with an optimizer. This year, I'm going to be using Sims for really the first time in any kind of volume. So I look forward to getting to know Run the Sims, but honestly, that's something I'll be playing with a lot over this weekend. Like that's part of my plan. Now that I'm starting to close out some of my best ball, I really need to spend a lot of time with Run the Sims because I'm going to be using that going forward, partnering with Run the Sims this NFL season. But have a lot of faith in that team. I think it's a lot of really some of the best DFS players on the planet, some of the best programmers that I know. So excited to do that. So it'll be a little bit different this year than it has been in years past. But yeah, I'm not hand building 150 ever. I'm always using some kind of tool to help me do it. All right, that was the final draft of this stream. I got to go walk my dog. Like I said, going out to a brewery, then going out to do my fantasy draft tonight with my law school friends. So busy night plan for me. But hopefully you found this useful. Again, if you would like to use my rankings, I posted them. In the Google Sheets is in the description of this video. You can download them from there to CSV. You can adjust them how you want. It's also in the Flannelverse Discord in the Best Ball channel if you want to check that out. Thank you all. Please do like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are interested. Thanks, guys. I will catch you later.